Chairman, distinguished panel, the Chairman of the Peninsula Foundation, and also the Taipei Economic and Cultural Center in India, who organized this very, very important topical conference. And thank you for inviting me. So today, my topic is conservation of coastal agriculture and forestry towards a sustainable blue economy. So my predecessor talked about fisheries. So I'll be talking about agriculture. So agriculture also includes fishery, aquaculture. I'm sorry, Okay, so we had a long discussion about what is blue economy. So I'll not dwell on that, but just to set the stage, an economic system or sector that seeks to conserve marine and freshwater environments while using them in a sustainable way to develop economic growth and produce resources such as energy and food. So in fact, it was reiterated in the morning session that we have really worked and we have exhausted the green economy, but the blue economy is a novel area we need to explore, but in a sustainable manner. So the whole conference is really for that, because we talked about the malpractices, the flaws, and when these resources at large in front of us, how could we use it for the mankind and for the benefit of all the other beings in a sustainable manner. So the importance of blue economy is in terms of global economy, around 90% of all international traded goods are shipped by sea, and the market value of marine and coastal resources and industry is estimated at $3 trillion per year, or about 5% of the global gross domestic product. So now we have to deal with the sustainable development goals, and Sustainable Development Goal 14 is here. That is the sustainable use of ocean, seas, and marine resources, and we need to work on it. So now the topic that I am working on here is coastal agriculture. Although I talk, I'm from Sri Lanka, but in my presentation, I don't concentrate on Sri Lanka only, but just the whole region of ours. So coastal agriculture is more prominent, especially in India. Because it has these very long rivers and deltas. So the coastal areas often provide excellent soil and climatic conditions for agriculture, which has been practiced for thousands of years and plays an important role in the economy of coastal areas. As you could see from the picture, the coastline, it's so large, and predominantly India has a very big role in it, as you could see from the picture. And these are some of the practices of coastal agriculture. Agriculture per se, real agriculture, and also aquaculture, and also forest, that is mangroves. Mangroves is a very important resource, and it falls to the forestry, and so you could see some mangroves and mangroves being planted. And also we know that mangroves is really a nursery grounds of fish and crustaceans, so that you can't have a good aquaculture or good fisheries without a good healthy mangroves. And also what you see in the middle is that of late it has become very popular, the culture of planktons, the algae. Because it's been found that apart from providing the livelihoods, it's a very important source of carbon sequestration also, to reduce the carbon dioxide emissions. And so others are agriculture. So just some examples of this. So in the lower Gangetic plains or the deltas, traditional rice-based farming systems, so there are jute-based cultivation systems, integrated cropping systems, and also lowland rice cultivation and the improved management of Kaveri River. the coastal fishing system, which was discussed by my former speaker, mixed cropping systems, coconut-based cropping systems where Kerala and ours, I mean, especially Kerala, of course, is inland, but our Sri Lankan entirely, the coastline is covered with coconuts. And commercial cash cropping systems and homestead farming systems. So coastline, when it comes to coastline, it's not only fishery, but it's just the, predominant part of the country is covered by coastline in all the countries, especially in the island states and very much in Sri Lanka. So livelihoods are so much dependent on the coastline, and therefore it's so much connected with the livelihoods. And here we have an opportunity to improve the livelihoods while conserving the natural resources for the sustainability. So, about the forest, some resources in the coastline, mangroves, coastal forest, actually forest, coastal forest, savanna woodlands, dry forest, and rainforest. And these are some other coastal and marine ecosystems like coral reefs. We talked about it in the morning. Seagrass beds. Seagrass beds, you could see there, these are like grasses, but they really harbor, they provide the food and nutrition to many animals at sea, fish, crustaceans, as well as turtles and dugongs and salt marshes, which is like in between. And this picture, in fact, my previous speaker in the morning showed this one, the live corals, and I'm so happy to see these live corals. But unfortunately, it has become a rare opportunity now, because most of the corals are now dying in entire region. So the benefits, sustainable livelihoods from crops and fisheries, and also these ecosystems provide ecosystem services like the fish and aquatic, faunal and floral habitats, and food for aquatic fauna, protection of the coastline. So especially tsunami is a good example that this impact of tsunami was much curtailed by the mangroves, the sand dunes, and other coastal vegetation. We could see that we experienced that one. And carbon sequestration, shade, medicine, and products for industry. So challenges, because we are here to talk about challenges. And so to agriculture, due to climatic change impacts, increasing flooding, shoreline erosion, salinity intrusion, temperature rise, all these we are seeing debacles. We are seeing a lot of obstacles for coastline agriculture, including aquaculture. Due to lack of comprehensive zoning in the areas, competition for land, water, and other resources due to development efforts. So, yes, we were talking, and we need to talk much more on the zoning in the sea and also zoning in the coastal areas. In every country, you have the coastal zone management plans, but always, it's really, very, it has become a, common thing that all these things we appreciate. But when it comes to development, yes, short-term development takes the priority. It is very unfortunate. It should not be the case. So here, you might have all these things, but then when it comes to building a hotel, when it comes to building a harbor, when it comes to building these housing schemes, they will go. And also even when it comes to building prawn culture, this will go. So this is the unfortunate thing. We have been harping on it for years, but still we are saying the same thing. And settlements, fisheries, aquaculture, infrastructure, industrial development, even tourism. This is what I mentioned. Of everything goes. And also there's habitat modification, toxicity. In fact, this agriculture can be vice versa. The benefits could be vice versa. If you have agriculture where a lot of pesticides, agrochemicals are being used, it will adversely affect the fish, and you could see so many fish kills there. And vice versa, because lot ships bring a lot of, let alone these ship accidents and the pellets which happened recently, but even the oil spills, and even with all these Marple Convention and all these conventions, but still ships unload their wastewater at sea. Yes.
2 minutes.
So, introduction of invasive species. So, the challenges of forest ecosystems are also the same. Lack of proper stock taking. In fact, it's very unfortunate to a certain extent. In Sri Lanka, I do not know about other countries. We have some idea, we have a good idea about the mangrove forest, but we don't have an idea how much coral we have and what is the status of them, how much seagrass beds we have, how much salt marshes we have. We don't have. Inventories had not been done. And suboptimal conservation status, always the possibility of sacrifice for short-term economic benefits, adverse impacts from pollution, and increased sedimentation from shoreline structures, which I talked about, right? In fact, I dealt with it earlier. One of these ocean acidification, which is also a very detrimental factor for the life in the sea, is the greenhouse gas emissions from the air and also from the ships. Okay. So way forward is that we really have to pursue this, conserve and sustainably use the ocean, seas and marine resources for sustainable development. And here I would like to say, just give me just 2 minutes, Mr. Chairman, the gaps. So we are here. I'm so happy to be here and talking to you, and I'm so happy that we are gathered here who are really real stakeholders of this business. So we need to do something. At least like a Paris Agreement, we should have this Chennai Agreement or something like that. I mean, we should walk out with some kind of thing like that as countries, as regions, and as global community. How? At policy planning regulatory level, of course, we know that there is stuff, but still very rudimentary in implementation. And technology transfer, everybody's crying that we need technology. Some countries are having
briefly
technology.
Sum up, like,
yes,
for
and
running.
some are, yes, all done. Right? And awareness and education is required, and also some specific recommendations. Just one last thing, right? Zoning of coastal areas, where, like I show here, the complementary activities, okay, the protective activities and the sustainable development activities should be identified in every coastline, and then work has to be done accordingly. And also, to strengthen the already available international agreements, like between the member countries, like South Asian Seas Program, programs with international maritime organizations, IORA, BIMSTEC, and also facilitating the less developed nations so that, they could operationalize their protected area management plans, coastal resource management plans, because they say we don't have funds. I mean, especially in Sri Lanka, that is the case. So we have to help each other in technology transfer, funds, and as well as come into common agreements so that law of the sea will prevail. So thank you very much. Sorry, Mr. Chairman, maybe I have taken 1 or 2 minutes. Thank you.